All right, let's talk about something that sounds, well, kind of crazy. Can you really, actually boost your JEE Main score by 100 marks in just 1 month? It sounds impossible, right? But believe it or not, there's a data-driven strategy that says it can be done. So let's break down exactly how.
So, let's really get to the heart of it. Picture this. A student is getting, say, 10 marks right now. That's a really low percentile. Can they realistically jump to 110, maybe even 120? I mean, for someone in that spot, a 100-point jump feels like a totally different universe. But is it actually within reach?
And right here, you can see exactly what's on the line. On one side, you have a score that, let's be honest, closes a lot of doors. But on the other side, you hit that 110 mark range and suddenly you're pushing into the 96th percentile, or even higher. We're talking high enough to get a spot in a top-tier NIT. The gap is massive, and so is the reward.
Okay, let's be super clear about something. The source material really hammers this point home. This is not a magic trick. This is going to require an absolutely insane level of commitment. It's all about flipping that word impossible on its head. If you are genuinely prepared for that kind of intense, focused work, then yeah, this path starts to look very, very real.
So what's the big secret? How is this even possible? Well, it's not about trying to study harder across the entire massive syllabus. No way. It's about studying smarter. It's about focusing on a very, very specific, high-yield chunk of it. And that is the core insight that makes this whole 100-mark jump a real possibility.
Check this out. This chart breaks down the JEE syllabus in a pretty eye-opening way. The analysis shows that about 40% of the syllabus almost never even shows up on the exam. Another 40% kind of rotates in and out. But then there's this critical 20%. This core set of topics that appear consistently, year after year after year.
And that, right there, is the entire game plan. For the next 30 days, the strategy is simple. You have to forget the other 80% exists. You channel every ounce of your energy into absolutely mastering this predictable, high-yield 20%. This is where you'll find the most points in the shortest amount of time. It's that simple. Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty and look at the actual data. This isn't just a theory, it's a concrete plan based on a deep dive analysis of previous year's papers, including the most recent January attempt. We're about to see the exact chapters that make up that golden 20%.
For math, here they are, the top 10 heavy hitters. We're talking matrices and determinants, 3D geometry, definite integration. You get the idea. Every single one of these consistently gives you at least one question per paper. Just mastering these 10 can totally transform your math score.
And guess what? It's the exact same principle for physics. Here's the list of the 10 most reliable chapters, things like modern physics and current electricity. 9 out of these 10 have historically guaranteed at least one question. You're not just studying, you're playing the odds in the smartest way possible.
And finally, we round it out with chemistry. The source points to topics like stoichiometry and solutions as being absolute gold mines for marks. In the last January attempt, they were everywhere. So these chapters, across all 3 subjects, they form the core of this 30-chapter blueprint.
So what's the payoff for all this focus? Well, according to the source, if you completely, totally master this list of 30 high-yield chapters, the data shows a potential score of at least 128 marks. That's not just hitting our 110-mark target, that's blowing past it and landing you firmly in the 97th to 98th percentile range.
And what's the absolute ceiling? It's even higher. Seriously, depending on the specific paper you get and, a little bit of luck, this strategy could rocket you all the way up to 200 marks. That could literally push you into the 99.5th percentile. The potential is just massive, all for mastering just 20% of the syllabus.
Okay, so knowing what to study is only half the battle, right? Now let's talk about how you actually execute this thing. The source lays out a super rigorous, structured 12-hour daily schedule. It's designed to squeeze every bit of learning and retention out of these next 30 days.
So here's what your day-to-day grind is going to look like. You start the morning with 1 to 2 hours of theory for a single high-yield chapter. Then, midday, boom, a full, timed 3-hour mock test. The evening is dedicated to a deep 3-hour analysis of that test. Really understanding every single mistake. And you wrap up the night with 3 to 4 hours of mixed question practice. It is a marathon every single day. No shortcuts.
You stick to this for 30 days, and you will have put in 360 highly focused, incredibly productive hours of study. According to the source, it's the sheer volume of targeted effort that turns a low score into a top-tier one.
Think of it as an investment, and it's designed to deliver huge results.
But look, at the end of the day, whether you use a specific tool or build your own plan from scratch, the core message from the source is this. If you have a smart strategy and you pair it with relentless, continuous effort, a massive improvement isn't just a possibility, it's predictable. So really, the only question left is, are you ready for the grind?